That should work. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the shop. This is our 2013 Mitsubishi Fuso FG Overland camper build, and right now I'm working on the kitchen. My next step is to attach the top of the cabinets to the wall. So IKEA includes these brackets with their cabinets that are designed to clip onto a rail that's attached to the wall. The problem is that rail is designed to span over several wall studs in a house and get screwed in. Now, I don't have wall studs, I have a very thin fiberglass skin, so I've made something that should adapt to that. What I've come up with is a 3D printed clip that has a large surface area on the back that I can use some 3M very high bond tape to stick to the wall. Now keep in mind, this is not supporting the weight of the cabinet, it's just preventing it from shifting around at the top end. The bottom end of the cabinets are screwed down securely to the floor. The way this clip works, because I need to be able to remove this without removing the entire thing, I have to have these so that they can slot over top and then pop into place. Once they've done that, there's a screw hole in the front and a clip that covers the entire area here will hold that securely. This means if I do ever need to take the cabinet out, I can undo these screws here, simply, and this one, and lift the bracket off the pad, leaving it on the wall. That also lets me assemble it completely and then install it in place, put these screws in as the tape is sticking to the wall. One of the nice things about being able to design and print your own parts is making things that are logical. So in designing the size of the pad, I made it fit exactly 2 widths of my VHB tape. So there's no wastage, I cut exactly along the edge, 2 pieces, perfect fit. Here on the front side, you can see the screw is now in with a little clip, and that means all I need to do to assemble this is give a quick alcohol wipe on the wall to make sure I don't have any greasy fingerprints in there. Peel the backing off of the double-sided tape. And now I just line everything up to go through the hole and line up with my mounting holes on the cabinet. Push that against the wall. That's now in place, and I just need to put these 3 screws in. When you can come up with a simple little part like that, it makes for a really easy installation. Now all I have to do is repeat the same thing in all the other locations. Easy as that. I now have 6 points where the cabinets are tied to the wall. That should be pretty secure. I do have the option of putting 2 more in the top of this cabinet down here. I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to need those or not. With as easy as all that was, I'm going to move on to my next step, which is going to be installing these latches into the kitchen cabinet doors. The latches that I'm going to be using are a pretty standard marine hatch latch. You put your finger in and pull and it lowers the latch on the back. They're pretty straightforward to install. All you need to do is put a hole saw through and then you install a little metal bracket that catches the back. The key is getting it in the right spot and getting in the right spot every time. So I've gone to my 3D printer in SketchUp and I've made myself a little jig that fits on the corner of the door to get the center hole in the right spot. But before I just go and drill a hole in the corner of the door, there's two things that I want to do. Number one, try it out on a sacrificial piece to make sure that I haven't made a mistake in my jig. And two, to get approval from the kitchen owner. I will say, if there's one thing that IKEA really has figured out, it's their hinge system. The ability to adjust and very quickly and easily remove an entire door. I've never seen anything like it. That's how all hinges should be. So, I would say that's how we're going to end up looking. And as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. But obviously there's something missing. We need to be able to hold that latch in place. Now these latches come with a backing that you slip over top and then you put the screws through, but they're not really designed to go through this thick of a material. Generally, you're not going to be using wood like this on a boat. So I've taken this and instead of modifying it, I've made my own. So I've just printed a 5mm thick disc that lines up with the same bolt pattern. So I can just put the two screws in from the back through that, and that should hold the latch in place. These are known as slam latches, and the reason for that is the angle on the back of the latch will actually drive the latch down, so you don't have to activate it in order to close it. You pull this down to open it, but when you close it, you just push and this will slide down and latch by itself. So here you can see I've got the new back plate on with the two screws in it, 3D printed, and on the front we've got a nice flush latch. Let's see if we've got it in the right place. I need a professional opinion.
Before I take the doors off, I'm going to use a small piece of tape to mark the corner where the latch hole needs to be drilled. Since one of the doors hinges opposite to the other four, this should help avoid inadvertently drilling the latch hole in the bottom corner of the door instead of the top corner.
That should do.
You'll notice that I'm drilling these holes from both sides of the door instead of just all the way through from one side. I'm doing this as the entry side of the hole saw cut is always much cleaner than the exit side. By going halfway in from each side, I get a nice clean finish on both the inside and outside of the door.
With all the doors back on, I can start installing the latches. As simple as popping it through the hole, inserting the cap on the back, and then threading in the two screws. Now there is a little bit of adjustability in the size of the hole. There's a little bit of play. So I can adjust these up and down, I'd say 1/16 of an inch, 3mm maybe. That's 1/8 of an inch. A couple millimeters, a couple fractions of an inch. How's that? But once these are tightened down, everything stays pretty snug. Now, I can't install the latch portion, the hook, until the countertop is installed, but I can go along and install all of these into the doors.
The rest of the installation is pretty straightforward. Pop a latch in from the outside, drop one of the backer plates on the inside, pop in 2 screws. I like to start them by hand because it's actually just threading into plastic on the back of the latch, and we don't want to get into any cross threading. Once they're started by hand, just do a visual to make sure that the latch is at the top. Carefully tighten both of these screws. And that's really all there is to it. Once you get things set up, these are a really easy latch to use. And once they're in, all I have left to do is install the little catch that goes on the underside of the countertop. Unfortunately, until the countertop is finished, I can't do that. As you can see, these latches are pretty easy to install. So if you're looking for a basic latch that's going to keep your cupboard door secure, easy to install, not that expensive, take a look in the video description. I'll put a link to where you can get yourself a set of these on Amazon. Oh, and if you're wondering where to find those links, you simply go to the video description, click more, and then click more again, and then scroll down until you find the links.
Well, that's going to wrap up about as far as I can take it until the countertop is installed, which you'll see next time. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't already, throw a comment in the section down below if you've got a question, and don't forget to share the video around if you think it'll help someone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.